Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is Casefile Arkham, Nightmare on the Canvas. And this book, so for those of you who don't know, Ishiro Finney, has a YouTube channel, and it's really good. There's a lot of really good series on his YouTube channel. Primarily, I really love The Night Editor, and I love Adventures in Awful. Really entertaining videos. I'll leave a link to both their YouTube and their BitChute channel down below. Good stuff by them. And this is written by Ishi and also edited by Rocha, which I believe is his wife. I think so. If I'm wrong, please correct me. And this book is basically, it's super noir. It's Dashiell Hammett, and it's also horror, and it's I don't know, I don't think this is the most apt phrase, but this kept popping into my head when I kept reading it. I was like, man, this is like Dashiell Hammett and John Carpenter decided to make a comic book if they were alive at the same time. I don't know if that's necessarily a correct assessment or anything. It's just my sort of impression when I was reading it. It's good, by the way. You can get this still on Amazon, and I don't know if 01 Publishing still sells direct. I'm not sure. You might want to go contact Ishi or Rocha to see if they still sell direct, but I know you can get it on Amazon, and I'll put a link down on Amazon. So this noir story, very, standard detective stuff, but it's mixed with horror. And it's really cool. So you get like this crazy opening. This guy and his lady are running around, and this freaking, where is it? There's an image right here. What is it? Yeah, this freaking psycho monster here just freaking kills him. By the way, this is really interesting. This reminds me so much of, and I don't know if this is apt or if this was an influence or anything. This reminds me so much of Hollows from the manga Bleach. And I don't know if that's actually an influence or not. I don't know if Pat McEvoy used that as an influence or if you had a different thing that influenced him, but it's what it reminds me of. I'm not sure if that's actually an apt comparison, but I can't help but thinking about it every time I see this artwork. We get an introduction to the main character. This is Henry Flynn. Henry Flynn he's a Marine, a veteran Marine from World War II, Pacific Theater. And he's working as a private detective in a town in Massachusetts called Arkham. He's very hard-boiled, has injuries from the war. Very much, there's so many characteristics about him that just remind me of the classic Hammett novels, right? The Maltese Falcon. God, no, man. I'm like losing my mind here trying to remember these things. The last Hammett book I read was actually Red Harvest, which I really like a lot. I actually wasn't that big into the more standard detective books that he wrote, but I loved Red Harvest. That book's awesome. Yeah, man. So he gets a job from this lady, May Derleth, who's a rich socialite. She's asking him to find an artist that's gone missing, and this artist is he's got problems. He draws some really weird shit. Some really weird shit. So he goes on and, detective goes around talking to all the other artists out there trying to figure out. And he's finding little by little, this artist is, he's not a good person. There's something wrong with this guy. Something very wrong with this guy. So doing your standard detective stuff. I love this. So this character is, I think it's Detective Sinclair. I'm pretty sure his last name is Sinclair. Anyhow, he's kind of funny. This is like a, I don't know if this type of character, maybe it's like influenced from the Greg Lestrade from Sherlock Holmes, but he's basically a detective who doesn't really want to do his job and doesn't really like doing his job. So, Henry bribes him with some bourbon, and he gives him just basically useless information. And Henry's like, you know what? Fuck you. I gotta go do this myself, apparently. You get this, get a side view right here, a lot of noir action. This guy's from the art club. He gets freaking whacked. I kind of want to skip a lot of pages because I want people to actually buy this. It's actually a really good graphic novel. By the way, the format here is very interesting. This isn't a, let me get out Alpha Flight. This isn't the size of a regular comic. It's smaller. It's a little bit wider than a comic, too. I'm not sure what this format is, or if this is just a custom format. It's cool, though. It does mean you have less panels per page, but the number of pages can increase, so they kind of take advantage of it in the way they do the visual storytelling, right? It's all black and white, by the way, which is not bad. I actually don't mind as a manga fan. I don't mind black and white at all, though it is interesting to see it on actually good quality paper. Print quality, by the way, is fantastic for a perfect bound book, right? This guy got a little bit roughed up by Amazon, so I don't think this is representative of every copy of Casefile Arkham. Just because God Emperor Jeff Bezos decided to kind of fuck this copy up on his way to me. But, you know, it is what it is. You get this crazy flashback, getting back to the story now, of Henry back in World War II, how he got his injury to his head. And then this is really crazy, like monsters coming out, right? You get this, I don't know if it's a theme, but, you know, Henry is dealing with, later on, supernatural things. But to him, it doesn't, it affects him, but probably not as much just because of his experiences with the war. So you have both the monsters as in supernatural monsters and monsters as in, you know, human monster. You know, monsters from war, right? Get a little bit back and forth like that, right? So Derelith sends him to go talk to a fortune teller. And I'm going to skip this part of the plot, but it's pretty interesting. You actually get a nice little twist with the fortune teller. I'm not going to kind of spoil it here, but it is pretty cool. But more importantly is the introduction of this character, Glinda. This is both the love interest and also kind of a cool sidekick character to Henry. She's a witch from the old country. Both of these characters being from having Irish background, if I'm correct in that. And yeah, she's both the very hot romance interest as well as sort of a reference for Henry trying to figure out all this supernatural crazy weird shit that he's dealing with right here. You know what's kind of interesting? Like I've always noticed Ishi has like some really weird videos every once in a while on his channel, and I'm always like, where the fuck did he find this shit? And then I think he just has an interest in some of this, I don't know if it's like obscure old shit. I'm not trying to be mean or insulting. It's just like, I've like never seen this shit before. And this one here, putting on the Ritz while this guy gets crucified. It's pretty freaking awesome. I'm going to jump ahead even some more, right? So he goes and talks to a guy called Thuber, who's kind of a little freaking piece of shit. And he leads him to the apartment that Pickman, who is the artist that he's after, supposedly was living in, and he finds this fucking crazy shit and roaches. Gross. Anyhow, he runs into these assholes, these two characters being, what's their name again? Hardy and Laurel? Yeah, Hardy and Laurel. They work for a guy called Big Eddie, and you get, like, gangsters, right? You get, oh, man, this really classic Noir. And they beat the shit out of Henry, capture him, they're interrogating him. And this is where shit gets really supernatural. Whatever reason, they look like monsters in Henry's eye. And then Henry kind of gets some sort of power and fucking vaporizes them. I don't know what's really going on here. I'm going to jump ahead even more. So he gets rescued by Glory. He has a confrontation with Pickman in the sewers, following those fucking roaches, which are gross. And not going to spoil any more, because you can still buy this book, and it's pretty damn good. It's not old either, so. But yeah, man, you get some crazy monster action going on at the end of this. Look at this, and also some bow chicka bow wow at the end as well. But it's really cool. So the style here is you get a lot of these too. I noticed, like, Ishi doesn't use narration boxes. He instead, wherever there's dead space, he just puts the text, which is kind of cool, and it works really well with this black and white style. I kind of like this a lot. I don't know, like, I guess I've always been in love with the 80s style, but if you're not going to have color, this is actually pretty smart. You know, fill dead space with black and then have white text. It looks really cool, and it gives the book a unique atmosphere. I kind of like it a lot. So, yeah, man. Also, you get a lot of interesting plot threads that are kind of left open. Mainly the storyteller and also the gangster Big Eddie. And you get the beginning of the partnership between these two characters, which is going to be pretty interesting to see forward. I think I'm definitely going to go buy the next volume. Again, I'm kind of walking the edge right here. I do want to like go into the details of the story, but I also don't want to like spoil it because Ishi's still selling this thing, and you can get it from Amazon like right now. So definitely check it out if you're into like detective noir meets fucking monsters. It's a good book. I actually thoroughly enjoyed reading this. There were some minor things that I wasn't too crazy about. Mainly just the I guess the weird shit every once in a while, every like 13 pages. But the primary story, the characterization, and and just the whole idea and the art is solid. I really liked it a lot. And yeah, man, check it out. So yeah, let me know if you liked the video. If you did, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notification. If you have any comments about Ishi and Kat's channel or this book, Casefile Arkham, Nightmare on the Canvas, leave them down below. And I will see you next time.